Welcome to the Ben and Lauren Show. I'm Ben, and this is Lauren.
And I'm Lauren.
We learned something about these mics. We can only have one mic on at a time, so Lauren's going to have to talk in my ear if you want to be able to hear her. But we learned an interesting little trick. Like say something, Lauren.
Okay, this is my voice
It's pretty soft.
without trading the microphones.
All right, now watch this.
Okay, now my mic is active and Ben's is off.
Now I'm soft. You can barely hear me, but you can hear her.
Right, because I can talk closer to your ear.
And if I want to talk, I have to talk like this.
You have the
All
mic.
right, I got the mic. Welcome to the Ben and Lauren Show. I'm Ben, and this is Lauren.
And this is how we spend our Saturday evening.
So, what do we do this week, Lauren?
Do you want to turn off audio monitoring?
I think we need to turn off audio monitoring. We're not going to get through this show. We're not going to do it.
Well, we probably can do it. You just have to ignore the feedback.
All right, we'll ignore the feedback. So, what did we do this week? We got our stack of stuff.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. So we we spent New Year's Eve playing Mario Kart.
Well, no. First, we had a nice steak dinner, and we had candlelight and jazz music, and
That's
our
right.
kids all behaved themselves, and we had a very nice meal.
So Lauren made steaks, and it was really good. We're all sitting down. I said, "This isn't right. We need to dim the lights." So I dimmed the lights. No, we need candles. We lit candles. No, we need dinner music. So I put jazz music on the
This is
dinner music.
this is after dinner was done.
So then
Steak's
that
getting cold, Ben.
so steak's getting cold, but that was a good meal. We were pretending we were eating out, and we were counting how expensive it would be if we were eating out.
Well, did we figure it was probably about maybe $30 an entree?
Something like that.
And we had four of them.
More than we would want to spend. And it would have been packed on New Year's Eve. So,
We could not have taken four little children to
uh,
a restaurant for a New Year's Eve dinner. That
so
would
that
have
was
been
our New
terrible.
Year's. That was our New Year's, and we put the girls to bed, and I played Mario Kart with Lauren and
And
beat her.
then you decided we would play Street Fighter, and I beat
Oh
you.
yeah, we played
And
Street
I beat
Fighter.
you.
Oh, we won't mention that part.
That's just because I pressed buttons wildly and randomly until my guy beat yours.
She plays Chun Li, and she's got that kick. Where
Well, that's the only move I figured out how to do on purpose.
I was the big fat guy.
All the rest of them were accidental.
Anyway, that was fun. That was our fun New Year's Eve.
Right. Well, normally we would have spent it with my family, and we do this thing where we have a really nice dinner and we talk about our blessings for the year. But my family caught the Christmas plague. Somebody came to Christmas sick, and
We
my
didn't want
whole family got sick.
it. We
My
didn't
sister's
want it.
family, my aunt, my papa, everybody was sick.
But not us.
Well, I was sad about missing Christmas. I guess I don't feel so bad anymore.
We stayed home. And we spent the day with our family, like we
We
always
did.
do. And it was good.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it.
So that was New Year's Eve. Mom and Dad got home from Florida.
Yes, my parents have been away to Florida for how long? 2 weeks?
It was
Three
a
weeks?
short vacation this time. It was just 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And they're going to be going back next month. So for a longer vacation.
And we get to watch the cat and water the plants and get the mail and keep the business running. And
It's
I'm
not,
glad when they're home.
it wasn't really busy,
No
but,
holidays.
but just collecting the mail. You got to do that over every day. Got to go to the P.O. box.
And it's weird that their house is there with them not in it. It's just kind of unsettled.
And the cat was so
Oh,
sad.
she's a very social cat,
Her
and
name's Heidi.
she's getting a little older. Um, and she really misses them, like to the point where when they have been gone for about 2 weeks, we'll go over to pet her, and she'll be happy to see us. And then she starts walking through the house crying because she figures if we're there, Mom and Dad must there somewhere.
Yeah. She goes around the house looking for her masters,
Hmm.
and we're not. We're not it.
But she got fed and watered, and we petted her plenty.
Hmm.
I mean, we've thought about bringing her over here, but when mom and dad got her, she hid for 2 weeks
I remember that.
before she would come out. So we have been always a little concerned about moving her.
Got to talk in the ear, babe.
I'm talking in the ear. You want me to talk closer?
Oh. We normally have monitoring off, so it's very strange right now. We're hearing ourselves talk.
They're probably noticing a lag.
No, probably
Oh.
not.
So mom and dad are home. We kind of worked on our ongoing projects.
Yes, we have a coffee table, and it's almost finished. And oh, I know what else we can show. The chairs. Hold on one
Oh,
second.
so the girls and I have been working on their schoolwork chairs. We have these little old school chairs that we picked up at uh, my mind just went blank. It was an old schoolhouse in Chesterfield Township, and they were selling off old chairs, so we bought a bunch. And they're really kind of beat up, but the girls have been planning on painting them for quite some time. And when I got busy painting the coffee table, they wanted a project too. So they sanded and painted, and I coached them through putting their flowers on them. I was going to have them do something a little simpler, but they, of course, in true women with Pinterest fashion, they went through and they found something way more complicated than I had planned.
It turned out nice.
So that got finished. The coffee table did not. I had most of the paint on, but when I went to put the lacquer on, I stuck the paint stick in, and something made me decide to test the lacquer to see if it was going to go over white paint. Because it says it's supposed to be crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
And a lot of lacquer's yellow when you put them over white paint. It works fine over stained wood. It just lends like a yellowish cast. But I didn't really want that over the white wood. So I dipped the paint stick in and let it dry, and it dried gold. I mean, it was like shellac. It
She showed
really.
it. She showed it to me, and I said, "Don't put that on the white paint."
So we called a halt while I checked up on what I originally wanted to use, which was polycrylic.
Mhm.
And they hadn't had it at Home Depot when I was looking for it, so I tried this lacquer instead. But I've concluded that we need polycrylic. So now I need to find that before I can finish the coffee table. And I'm really glad I tested it.
It would have looked. It wouldn't have looked very good. The white looks very nice and clean. Thank you. The white looks very nice and clean, but the yellow over it wouldn't have looked very
It
good.
was awful.
It would have looked like coffee spilled over the whole thing.
Oh, bad. It was bad.
So that was a good catch. So now we're going to get some polyacrylic, and it'll be crystal clear as advertised. We hope.
Well, we read a lot of reviews, and it looked like if people applied it thinly and evenly, the polycrylic is probably our best bet.
And it comes in this little half pint container, so we're going to have to buy a
You
whole
could get
bunch of them.
quarts.
Have to get a couple quarts. It's expensive.
I think just one quart
Yeah,
should do it. Yeah, we're putting it on thin. It's not that big of a table. It should work.
good.
Anyway, what's else in our stack here?
Uh,
Do I really want to talk about dieting?
no.
Okay.
Everybody talks about dieting.
Especially the beginning of January. You'd never know I've been working on this for several weeks
I think
and
this
two
is
years
I
ultimately.
think this is a good segue into our sugar. We came back. My
Mom and
parents,
Dad came back.
mom and dad came back from Florida and they brought us
Sorghum
sorghum.
syrup.
And this stuff is thick.
It's like molasses and caramel mixed together.
Now I learned from last time you don't want to tip this
Oh,
too
yeah,
much.
don't tip the sorghum on the floor.
So I wish we had smell-o-vision so you can smell this.
It does smell really
It
good.
just smells like thick, fruity, sweet molasses.
Yeah, it has a lot more different flavor smells to it than molasses does. Molasses is like a burnt smell almost. This has fruity, maybe
Blueberry.
blueberry. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm having
like a
trouble saying my
fruity
words tonight.
taste to it. So we're gonna have our little sample.
We decided not to put the sample on over here in the chair because spilling this would be really messy.
And there's, I don't know if you could see, but these big, long, sugary strings coming from this.
So,
These are leftover pancakes with some
so
sorghum
we
syrup on
smelled
it.
it, and it's got a really fruity. Waiting for the mic.
All right.
It's got a really nice fruity smell to it, quite a bit different than molasses, but it's also different than the other sorghum syrup
All
that
right,
we
let's give it
tried.
a try. Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
That's good. And it's not spicy.
That's good. It's kind of tangy.
You know, putting them on the pancakes turns them into like little cookies. You know, the cookies with the jelly in the middle?
Hmm. It's like really strong brown sugar.
Mm-hmm. Well,
A lot of fruit flavor though, which is interesting. And the other sorghum that we tried, they had more of a green taste.
mm-hmm.
I bet some of the chlorophyll was still in it more than this.
So that's the Ben and Lauren show. You can watch us eating.
Well, we've heard of sorghum syrup,
Mm-hmm.
and we help. Uh, your mic is leaving.
Okay. Yeah.
We helped the American Homestead folks harvest their sorghum, and it was their first year harvesting and juicing and boiling it down. And so we tasted the first year's syrup.
It took a lot of time to boil it all
Oh, it
down.
was hard work.
Yeah.
It took a lot of time, and it was really hard to filter all the green foamy stuff out.
So I can see why this is so expensive.
Yeah.
A little
So
goes a long way.
we actually brought our little jar of sorghum syrup home from Arkansas, and we boiled it more, and it became more like molasses. And I made molasses cookies out of it. It was very good.
But I remember it being green.
It was still greenish tinted,
Mm-hmm.
and I filtered it one more time through a coffee filter, and it was just really hard to get the chlorophyll out.
Now we actually grew sorghum. In one of the other Ben and Lauren shows, we were showing the sorghum.
Yeah, I am interested in being able to do it properly.
You can get popcorn from it too.
Yeah, and flour.
And flour.
Flour if you grow enough of those seeds.
Well, that would be a good thing to grow.
I mean, if you grew a whole row of it along our fence,
Mm-hmm.
you could have something. Not a lot, but
Maybe we can get some sugar out of it.
I think I have to start growing them inside. I
I
don't
mean,
think we have a long enough growing season to
right,
seed them outside.
right.
Anyway, that was kind of fun. Mom and Dad knew what we would be interested in.
Yeah, they know us well.
So, new Ultratech calendar came in the
Oh,
mail.
we got
We
another
always look
prop.
forward to that.
We got another prop today. We got our 2019 Ultra Tech calendar. I don't know
This
if you
goes
can.
in Ben's office.
So these guys are very creative. They create these faux posters saving Pallet Ryan.
They sell safety equipment, and we are distributors of theirs. And
These are actual guys that work for the company.
every year, their whole staff gets together,
The guy there, the soldier.
and they make these calendars where they pick out different movies and they put their faces into the movie posters.
Here's a good one.
Weekend at
Burmese.
That berm down
Yeah.
here is what they sell, and it keeps water back. So you
I
put
think
it
that's
down.
funny.
You put it down, and it's an instant safety barrier.
Somebody's buried in the sand there.
Yeah, it was. I think that's Kindle.
It might be.
It's the gal that we deal with on the phone.
This is a good one too.
Men in yellow.
Men in yellow.
Yeah, see those big barrels. So we look forward to this every year. We get to see what they decided to highlight in their catalog. Oh, Drain's World.
Drain's World.
Right, those are drain guards that they're holding.
Anyway, I think it's hilarious.
We laugh. Every year we go through the calendar and we see faces of people we only talk to on the phone. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's what they look like. It's fun. And it goes in your office. It's a good calendar for your office.
and I always joke with them, and when I call them up, I say, yeah, I saw you on page 5. Drain's World.
One of the guys that you deal with was the guy squeezed onto that little tiny desk.
Oh yeah. Let's see if I can find that one.
Tim?
Tim.
Is it Tim?
Yeah, Tim.
I think it was like right in the middle. I can't remember which month though.
Just ad lib.
Justice League. So these are the things we get amusement out of. Oh, so you're done. There we go. That's one of the guys Ben deals with. And so we get to kid him about being
Billy
squeezed into the
Madison.
tiny chair.
Anyway, that entertains us.
I make our own calendar every year, but I wait till the second week of January because then we get a coupon for a free calendar on Shutterfly. And
We're we're strange. We have our own calendar. Now, I shouldn't say our own calendar, but we have to try to adjust the normal calendar with all sorts of other dates that aren't normally on there.
we were finding that it was very difficult to plot out when we wanted to keep feast days. And there was a lot of dates on the calendar that we didn't pay any attention to. And
Hmm.
then there was no dates on that calendar for what we did want to pay attention to.
Right.
So in the end, we began making our own calendar.
Every new year, Lauren says, "All right, Ben, you're gonna have to give me some dates."
And every year, Ben decides whether we're.
Conjunction, sliver, Jewish calendar,
And
Hallel.
I've learned that it doesn't matter what calendar dates you give me. Somewhere about halfway through the year, you're going to go, oh no, Passover is tomorrow. And I'll say,
Enoch. We're going Enoch this year.
I'll go, Ben, it's on the calendar for next month. And you say, no, 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 no. I made a mistake. It's really this
Ah,
month.
this year, Dead Sea Scrolls. We're gonna get
Zadok.
some, yeah, Zadok calendar this year.
And don't mistake us as making fun of
No,
any of these
we're
calendars.
not.
We just are never sure which one.
We really don't.
So,
It's a sensitive topic for us, actually. That's why we're
well, not,
joking a little bit.
well, it's not that sensitive for us. Are we insulted?
No, sensitive in that we haven't really settled.
We, and every time we think we're settled, we hear evidence about something else that we didn't know about.
If anyone in our audience knows the true calendar, let us know.
Oh, don't go there. Everyone thinks they have the true calendar.
We all agree that this calendar is wrong.
Last year we had Sukkot, and then there was other people doing Sukkot a month later, and they had valid reasons why. But by the time we heard them, we were in the middle of Sukkot.
We want to do what most people are doing, but be absolutely accurate and correct.
We do? What?
I would like to be able to do what everyone else is doing and have it be correct.
I think that's going to happen at about the same time as world peace.
Maranatha, come quickly. We need the calendar. We
So
know what we're following is wrong.
then I need dates for Passover.
Okay.
It takes me 2 weeks to get all 11 out of the cupboards,
All
and that
right.
doesn't even count the freezers
All
and
right.
the pantry.
So if we have anything figured out, it's not the calendar.
No, and even when we do have it figured out, who knows?
And I think that's why people do the Hillel calendar because they want to get a Jewish calendar and just have all the holidays marked out. And that's when
Right.
people have been doing it for hundreds and thousands of years.
Well, also, then you're in some solidarity with what the Jewish people
Right.
are doing.
But if you know it's wrong, then it's hard to make that decision.
Yes.
So that's our quandary. Calendar debates.
All right.
And again, we're not mocking different calendars. We're just,
We're laughing at ourselves
we are
here
laughing at ourselves.
because Ben seriously did that with Passover one time. He told me Passover was tomorrow, a month before I was
Quick,
expecting it.
Lauren, get all the leaven out of the house.
And I'm like, Ben, I can't do it in time.
At that point, you shrug your shoulders and say, well,
Hey, I'm leaning close to you so I can use your mic.
okay.
So you keep leaning away from me, we're gonna fall out of the picture. Do I need to go brush my teeth?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good.
Smells like sorghum.
Well, so do you. It's a good thing it wasn't garlic this week,
so, so that's a good segue into the Torah portion.
which was so long this week because we missed last week's.
We missed last week, so we had 9 chapters and we didn't get through them all.
We got almost there,
We got to 6.
and we decided to pick one thing.
Yeah, so this Torah portion is about the Exodus. Exodus chapter 1 through chapter 6.
That
And
was
at the,
last week's.
well, that's what we read.
Okay.
And at the end of the Torah portion, there are some genealogies. And normally they're very boring and we'll kind of skip over them. But this one had something we thought was interesting. And Lauren wrote a chart.
Well, I can try to show it, but maybe it'd be better to describe it a little.
Okay. So it's describing the family of Aaron the high priest. And it mentions, sort of in passing, that he was married to Elisheba. And Elisheba, we discovered, is related to the kingly line of Judah, the very same one Messiah comes from. So that means that Aaron the high priest, the source of the Aaronic priesthood, is half Judahite.
No, his
No?
son Eliezer
Oh,
is.
sorry,
So
son
the second,
Eliezer.
but the line goes through the kingly lines and through Levi
Right. So you've got the four sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and Eleazar
and Itamar.
and Itamar. And two perish, and the other two continue the line, and they are half Levitical and half Judahite, but not just any Judahite. It's the Elisheba is the sister of Nashon, right?
And Nahshon is the father of Salmon, who marries Rahab, and they are the parents of Boaz, who marries Ruth, who
Hmm.
has Obed, who has Jesse, who has David.
So we were reading this genealogy, and we kind of had one of those forehead slapping moments. We said, "Wow, we never caught that before."
Yeah, so what it means is Eleazar, the second high priest,
Hmm.
is the nephew of the man who is the ruler of Judah,
Right.
and he's the cousin of the man who marries Rahab.
Yep. And we find it
So,
interesting
so
also in
Boaz's great aunt is married to Aaron.
that's right. And we see parallels in the gospel with Zechariah and Elizabeth, which is Elisheba or Elisheba,
Elisheva.
Elisheba in Hebrew, and also even Yeshua himself.
Right,
There's
because we know Mary had to be at
Lev-
least part Levite to
mhm.
be related to Elizabeth.
So there it is again. You have the Levites and the Judahites. We thought that was really neat.
We did. Partly what made it neat, though, was that when we read her name, and it said, oh, by the way, she's the sister of Nashon and the daughter of Aminadab. We went, wait a second.
Aminadab?
Aminadab and then Nashon, isn't that the kingly line?
That is.
Because that's the genealogy in Matthew. And we have that dumb song.
Is the book over here?
It's probably there somewhere. Yeah, it's over to the edge of the
We like
bookcase.
props. Hold on a second. Sure.
Ben, can you take your earbud out? Oh, there you go. So we have this book that's called The Ballad of Matthew's Begats, and it sings a song about the genealogy in the beginning of Matthew. And it starts off with Abraham had Isaac, Isaac he had Jacob.
All right, we're back.
We're going to learn how to splice videos.
I don't know what that looks like from your perspective, but that iPad went flying.
Well, hazards of having it up on a stool.
So I bumped it with my foot, and the iPad just dropped.
So he was talking about Matthew's Begats.
And I went to get the book, The Ballad of Matthew's Begats.
Right. So because we have this book and this silly song that goes through our heads, when we heard the name of Nahshon, we said, wait a second, the son of Aminadab? That means that their son is Salmon, and his son is Boaz, and his son is, and anyway, we remembered the whole genealogy. Yeah, here's the page.
There it is. Ammon, who had Nahshon, who had...
It's Aram.
Oh, no, sorry.
Aram, then
Aminadab,
Aminadab, then Nahshon, who is then the dad of Salmon. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So we had this whole genealogy song memorized, or sort of anyway, and we were playing the song in our head.
Yeah.
And it goes, then Perez and Zerah came from Judah's woman Tamar. Perez, he brought Hezron up, and then came Aram, then Aminadab, then Nahshon, who was then the dad of Salmon, who with Rahab fathered Boaz.
Right. So Elisheva, Aaron's wife, is Nahshon's sister. So
That's right.
she's the daughter of Aminadab.
Yep.
So what is that? Let's see. One, two, three.
Chart.
Grandfather, great
I think you should
grandfather,
share
great
the
great
chart.
great 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 granddaughter of Judah is Aaron's wife.
So the famous Aaron's wife.
Well, you know what's interesting? Wives aren't usually mentioned.
No.
So the fact that she's mentioned and her genealogy is mentioned is kind of interesting.
So it was an important, significant thing.
It was significant then, and I think we normally miss that.
And all the times we've read that and we've never seen it before. It just every year we go through
It
the
goes
Torah
right over
portion
our head.
and there's like, oh, wow, I didn't see that before. We're probably the only people who care. We get excited about this kind of stuff.
Oh well, not every discussion can be doctorate worthy.
So I think that pretty much wraps up everything we wanted to talk about.
Now you're going to have to learn video editing.
I'll have to do my first video slicing,
Slapping,
slapping,
slapping.
merging, connecting. I think we're a little slap happy. Too much sorghum went to our brains. We're on a sorghum high
I think it was when we were trading the mic back and forth. We got slap happy at that point.
a little bit. All right, we're going to leave it there and we're going to say good night. Say good night, Lauren.
Good night, Lauren.